Estudia lo que realmente te apasiona, sigue tu vocación y sé feliz. Nuestro país y el mundo necesitan personas como tú, que diseñen espacios y formas habitables que mejoren la calidad de vida del ser humano en equilibrio con el medio ambiente. Estudia arquitectura en La Salle. Educación de alta calidad a tu alcance.
When we watch the building process and the great set of buildings or residential complexes, we think, why not everybody thinks about making houses, buildings, neighborhoods, and even cities with recycled material? Daily, we watch and hear that all the solid waste go to sea and do irreversible damage to the environment. However, some people around the world think different. They are doing the things possible, like building and designing ways to deal with friendlier materials with the planet. In this episode, we are going to see how Colombia is not the exception. Here, there is someone who is using good materials for the elaboration of houses, schools, and other construction projects. And we are going to understand this project from the spotlight of two important professionals in Colombia. Join us until the end. Listen to this concept and enjoy the conversation that has an implicit and important social work.
Architecture for nature. The sound of bricks.
Okay, welcome. Today in Architecture for Nature, the Sound of Bricks, our episode number 30, From Garbage to the Link.
Hi Angela, hi Diana. Dear guest, I introduce you my college and host Camilo Almonacid. He is an architect from the National University of Colombia and he is a specialist in smart architecture, interior design and magister in urbanism. He has been working on different sustainable architectural projects. And I introduce myself. I am Adriana Perez. I am a Colombian architect from La Salle University. I am a specialist in energy efficiency and environment, with 10 years experience working in Colombia and other parts of the world, such as Europe and Latin America. And now I would like to know a little about our guests. What about you, Angela? Can you tell you something about you and your career?
Hi Camilo and Adriana, thank you so much for having me here. I am an architect specialized in urbanism, urban and regional planning, and landscape architecture.
And finally, Diana Holguin, thanks for visiting us. Diana, can you tell our listeners something about you? I know they are expecting to meet you.
Hi, thanks for inviting me to your program. My name is Diana Holguin. I'm an English teacher at a public school, and nowadays I am a master in education, also a specialist in English didactics. And thanks for inviting me to your program.
Again, thanks for being here. Welcome to Architecture for Nature, the Sound of Bricks. Nowadays, the number of people are building more and more with environmental friendly materials is increasing, but it isn't the most important thing. Maybe the biggest owners of the traditional materials constructions don't let the recycling market grow. In my opinion, the recycled material will have to be the first option to build new cities, and for example, the companies that work with eco-friendly materials are minimal. So, I've heard that in some parts around the world, some architects have been risky and have dared with materials to build their houses. An example of this is Legoland, a house made with recycled tiny and curved Lego pieces. It was built with approximately 816 million pieces. Some self-sufficient and sustainable houses made of dirt-filled tires, soda cans, and bottles, the natural light is maximized and the walls made with tires and earth providing great acoustic and thermal isolation. Ecological housing made with recycled marine containers have the same qualities as a conventional house, but they don't need a conventional foundation. They are cheap and easy to build, a modern and very cozy home. Houses made with recycled boats are good for both marine and terrestrial life. Boats are houses for living in the sea. But what if in addition to taking it out of the sea, We reuse it and use it as if it were a home. We are already talking about one of the best examples of recycling. Houses made of mixed recyclable materials such as corks, bottle scraps, pieces of mirrors, wood panels, and others. The main objective of the construction of ecological houses with recycled materials inefficiently energy and also to reduce emissions during their construction.
I've listened about beautiful bamboo houses, grass seats, and wood scrap, or a manufactured home entirely of old windows, or another, a house made of newspapers, and a house entirely made of pallets, inside and out. It is amazing.
Yes, I also knew about a house made from cardboard fiber sheets, or the house called Beer Can House is made with approximately 50,000 cans, and they have to drink a lot of beer. And a house made with natural materials such as stones of different shapes and wood, yeah? Did you already know about some of those houses, or did you know another one with this concept?
Yeah, I believe recycling is more and more on the building agenda. Nowadays, specialists are more aware of the need to incorporate recycled materials not only for housing development but also for the built environment. For example, in the Netherlands a few years ago, a new 30-meter bike path was made almost entirely out of recycled plastic, containing more than 200,000 plastic cups or 500,000 plastic bottle cups. But returning to the question you're posing, I also heard about some extreme cases, like the one of 747 Wing House, where a residential building was designed having as a roof the wings of a decommissioned Boeing 747-100 airplane.
I'm so glad to hear that as future architects, you're doing something to change our environment for better. I think that it's a need to teach in our schools about these topics. For example, this year my students were learning about sustainability and they learned how could be an eco house where they can work with solar panels, made their own food growing, and I have heard about the houses you're talking about because they knew that by reusing this plastic, some of the locality community of Ciudad Bolivar made their houses because they were cheaper and made of plastic that was recycled.
Well, there is a company that makes houses with recycled plastic bricks in Colombia. The blocks are obtained by a process called extrusion. The plastic is melted and put in a mold, and building system is 30% cheaper than traditional systems. They are fire resistant. In addition, the plastic structure makes it resistant to earthquakes, reduces plastic going to landfills, and reduces CO2 emissions.
I find that really interesting, especially because it opens up possibilities for a country like Colombia, where solutions like those are needed for social housing development or for informal housing improvement processes, to name a few examples.
In addition, I can say that in our country, it could be like a new top to talk about this because it's very important to teach our students and our community to be better citizens for the world. For example, we can know something about the citizenship competences where our young students learn how to be better with their environments. Also, one of the 21st century skills called sustainability can be taught at schools and at universities as you are doing now. I think this proposal of making houses in that way is amazing. It's very good and friendly to have a greener planet.
Yes, in Colombia, there are many kinds of buildings with recycled material. Here, the traditional construction are more important, and the poverty has led the people to make their own houses with unexpected materials they don't do with the recycled purpose. A few people are thinking in solid waste and it's clear a few people are thinking in poor people. They do because of necessity. Someone in Colombia is thinking in both aspects: solid waste, in this case recycled plastics, and poor people from the rural places. The houses are resistant against fire, they are also thermoacoustic, resistant to tremors and earthquakes, and the temperature is room inside the house.
Great! I hadn't heard of this initiative. Where are these experiences taking place?
Yes, Angela, I have heard about these programs on experiences. For example, here in Bogota, some students at La Salle University for their thesis made some houses at the locality of Ciudad Bolivar. Those houses were made plastic that was recycled. And it was amazing and beautiful because it was something that was at the service of the other and also of the environment. That means that as an architect, you are doing a very good labor by helping people and at the same time helping to protect our planet.
So, we can find two similar projects in our country. One of them is in Bogota and the other one is in Rio Negro, Antioquia. They have already built this kind of homes in Bogota, Cauca, and in a few other places in the Colombian territory. In this moment, we can find two different companies that work with the same concept: recycled plastic to make ecobricks. One that is born from the idea of the Colombian architect called Oscar Andrés Méndez, with his enterprise is called Conceptos Plásticos from Antioquia. And the other one is the Fundación Botellas de Amor, from Bogotá, the capital of the country. Both companies work about the social impact building households, children parks, schools, school furniture, urban furniture, and others, focused at this time on people with limited resources. So, that is the reason we can say in this project are involved to main characters, the companies and the people that need a place to live.
As I said before, I think this is an amazing project. I think this social labor is wonderful because it's taught on people needs and is focused on develop architecture in such a human way. I would like to know more about that. I wonder how, for example, can people with difficulty go and find for a house like this? I would like to know where are those projects running.
Yeah, those kinds of houses have been built since 2015 in our country by different architects and investors. The idea is patented since 2008, and the first project built in our country was a temporary shelter for 42 families displaced by violence in Guapi, Cauca in 2015. Now, they are growing very fast. They have a web page and different garbage collection programs to give a good end to solid waste.
I hope this kind of experiences could be taken more broadly in our country. However, I believe that some of the difficulties with the use of recycled materials rely on proper studies that support their resistance and durability enough to allow to incorporate these new materials and more sustainable building processes into building and seismic codes. But coming back to that experience, how are those bricks manufactured?
According to Francisco Rodriguez, the technical director of Ecojunto in Colombia, this is the process for making bricks made of recycled materials. They come from different kinds of materials, mainly from polypropylene, high and low density polyethylene. Through an extrusion process, the pieces of the system are produced. The system consists of a structure that constitutes both the beams and the columns. They are tied by metal joints which generate the structural frameworks that support the load. The main non-structural pieces are blocks which are attached to each other by using the assembled system. As it is plastic, it has a very good insulator, both thermal and acoustic as it is plastic. It is possible to apply this system to all types of housing since the only thing that it requires is to adapt the design and the model them.
It was really good to hear about this case you're mentioning. It would be interesting to follow that experience and see how it evolves to be incorporated in other projects besides housing. Sometimes with the fabrication of these kinds of materials, you see design possibilities a bit limited because they are so centered in standardization processes of the material production. In any case, it is an example of people thinking on how to leave a better place for next generations.
About that, I can say that I am so happy, but I have been looking for a house because I would like to build a house in a little place I bought, and it has been difficult to find it because it's expensive. I think you can make those kind of products, but they can be also cheap for people who needs to buy them because everything about environment or healthy food is very expensive. I don't know why we are doing this. It is supposed that it should be cheaper and easy to find in the market.
In conclusion, we can point out some of the benefits of building houses with recycled materials. These materials have some benefits against other systems of construction. The first is that the assembly is faster and easier. A house can be built in 1 or 2 weeks. In addition, it is extremely resistant to different environmental conditions like humidity or salinity. It is also resistant to fire as it has flame retardant. Another important fact is that it is an anti-seismic system approved by the CFIA. It has the possibility to make different finishes as it receives any type of plaster. And the best is that having a system that is easy to assemble reduces the labor cost. Amazing.
Well, for now, this is all. We hope that with this podcast, we could have engaged you to use this kind of material. As architects, we have the responsibility to make a better world. This is a step we can't postpone, and you are invited to be part of the sustainability 21st century skill. Goodbye to our guest. Thanks for your awesome words. We hope to have you back here, please. Goodbye, and send your comments to architectofthenewworld@gmail.com.